This conference will now be recorded.
All right, as always, everything that we'll be talking about today is for educational purposes only, and nothing is intended as any type of investment advice. So, an interesting morning. Things at pretty much about 10 o'clock it felt almost like what it looks like right now out there. Just not a lot of stuff moving. And the stuff, we had some moves, but a lot of the moves, and a perfect example is a stock like Tesla, or, the stock that I pretty much almost always use is Apple. You can see we have 279, which is basically about $1 underneath the range that we typically have. But you can see the volume out here. The volume today during trading just really isn't. It really isn't anything. And the reason that I bring up Tesla is because those prints that we had earlier today. Now, if you go into the chat room, I posted them out there so everybody can see, because you certainly want to pay close attention to what we had going on. So overall, 226 had probably not much. So, we saw some of the retail selling that came back into there. I mean, it just really wasn't, as much as we would basically what we would expect to come out. But at that 220 level, we can see we just had a huge amount of selling that came in. 221.50. It pushed it all the way up to our price target of that 225. So overall, what we're going to be looking for once at 220.50, where it's over a 22,000, 12,000, 1,400, and the rest of them 3,000, 2,000, 29. So basically push it up to that 22.50 level. But we still have a little bit of retail selling that came back in, and we still do also have a little bit of regular selling that came in around 225, as well as the riders that we saw on that S side. So overall, do I think that 226.56 is enough? No, I still do. I mean, it probably, not probably, definitely would have pushed a lot more if we had a lot more volume coming in. You can see right now trading 13,000 shares a minute, which isn't even terrible compared to some of the other stocks that we see going on. Apple trading 12,000 shares a minute right now. Baba's probably one of the better ones, trading 19,000, which is, just is not much at all. But certainly do expect more from the amount of prints that we saw coming in at that 220.50 to push up above to, I would say, somewhere around that 227.50 area, maybe 230, a little bit more. Basically, what we're going to be waiting for is just for the riders to stop within the stock on the bigger side of prints before we really see this thing come back down. Somebody got out of a huge position. And another stock that we were looking at before, and I did not write it down, but I know Doug had put out there, we had a huge amount of selling that came into Walmart, and it never really pulled back. It really just kind of came in. And the reason it never pulled back is because the fact that there was just no buying whatsoever. It was a huge amount of selling, followed by all follow through and no real ass prints that came back in. So now we're finally pulling back, just like everything basically needs to. 190.05. Okay, perfect. And it's going to have to pull back up above. I'm going to be expecting it to at least get back towards that double top side of things before we end up seeing it come back underneath. And you could see this, it's just odd because we have such a strong trend that's coming in on that daily side of things on the Walmart chart, and someone just unloaded a position. So that's two things that we saw, someone unloading a huge position. I haven't seen a lot more of it yet. And if we get some, some more big selling that comes back in, I'm going to be convinced that we're going to see some type of trade news coming in. Right now, it's a thought, but there hasn't been enough confirmation of that. But like I said, if we do get any type of more huge selling that comes back in, it would make sense that we're going to see something come back down. Because remember what we talked about this morning, we have buying above and we have selling below. So that's why the overall push kind of is a little bit iffy. But over, with Tesla showing, even if it's just Tesla itself and just Walmart, someone getting out of a huge position, certainly people are looking to unload a bunch of things. Now, other than that, I don't really have anything on our list. We're going to be watching our everyday stocks and hoping that something comes back in. CRWD is the only real thing that I've been kind of looking at, but unfortunately, 68, we had some aspirants that came back in, and it barely pulled back enough underneath there yet, especially too because we had prints at 67. You can see here at 1255. I'm going to be expecting, a little bit more of a move down, but there's definitely some buying that's coming in there to show us that it has the opportunity to go up, just not really much. Yes, I just saw that in Facebook on the 180, 186.98. So this is another kind of ballsy position to take right underneath that 187 level. That's a huge burst. So Facebook, we have definitely been seeing buying coming back in. I will put that on our list just because we don't really have much to watch at all, but overall, look at the volume. It's just the biggest problem that we have is there's just not much trading that's going on out there. That's very, very slow. So keep in mind as well, the prints that we see, it's going to take a lot longer for them to come into fruition when we just don't really have a lot of trading that's going on out there. So this afternoon, not really that much. I mean, pretty much what we've been watching is what we're going to be paying attention to, but even the things that, are everyday stocks, it's just disgusting volume. Now, anything else out there that I missed? Unfortunately, I don't think the answer is yes. It's just a lot of kind of floating around. Just there's not, like I said, not a lot of trading. But remember, the prints that you see during times where there's not a lot of trading actually mean a lot more because the difficulty of trade is a lot higher. So like I was talking about before within Tesla, when we saw those prints come in at 2050, 220.50. It shows a lot more than they would actually mean if there was more volume that's going on out there. So the difficulty of trade is definitely there. Most of these type of afternoons, if we don't really get too many trades that come back in, really what I look for is to set myself up with a story for the next day. So when we see these big prints, when we just saw the 187.98 prints that come back in, this is something that really means a lot because there's just not a lot of trading that's happening. All right, guys, so that pretty much looks like it. So Chewy, I mean, CHWY is definitely something that we'll be keeping our eyes on just because, IPO. It's getting got a lot of volume that came in right around that 34 level, but unfortunately, most of the day it's been a short. So 34 definitely has those ask prints. It's probably one of the better things out there. I'm just not convinced on most of everything that we're seeing. The volume it just really isn't there, but this is a nice volume pattern. So we have the ask prints at 34, we pulled underneath, and now this would be a perfect time for a nice spike to break us up to at least this orb line right here at 35. All right, guys. So, Vince, we have 182. Vince saw some buying at 35 in the pre-market. Yes. Well, no, overall, and if you remember when the IPO actually opened, there's great buying all the way up here around 40 as well. So make sure that we have that in the notes. I will talk to everyone in the chat, and happy trading.